Robbie Bacon, Associate Editor of RideApart here at the Cal Cruster Mountain Park, somewhere in the beauty that is British Columbia. I'm here for Can-Am's Outlander, more specifically the XT-P 1000R, and I'm standing next to it, and the 850. Look, I love power sports. I love anything with an engine. You could probably put me on a ride on a lawnmower and I'd be happy. But I think ATVs in the world of power sports deserve more respect. And when I heard I was coming out to test the Outlander with its 101 horsepower and 69 pound-feet of torque, the most powerful unit in its class, I was a bit nervous. I thought, geez, I'm like a baby who's about to be handed a bazooka. What am I supposed to do with 101 horsepower around here? But it turns out a lot. Can-Am has set up the delivery of the horsepower so it's not super abrupt. When you have something that weighs 998 pounds dry and it's putting out 101 horsepower, that's so important. Obviously it has more than enough power to get you into trouble, but what I really noticed around here anyways is it has enough power to get you out of trouble. There were more than a few times throughout the past few days that we were covering tight nadgery turns, going through forests, over massive logs, through streams. So many obstacles that if you had just shown me it, I would say there's no way that I'm going to be able to go up over that. And before I could even finish that thought, the Outlander had covered it and I was on to the next obstacle that I thought the same thing. No way could I cover this. And again, before I started to go, okay, but I'm going to have to find something that this can't cover. And I can tell you after 2 days, that has yet to happen. Of course, it's not just coming down to the mountains of power on tap when approaching obstacles. Can-Am has redesigned the Outlander and they say it's 95% new. When you're coming up to an obstacle, it's the chassis that's really stepping into play and giving you that feeling of sure-footedness. After talking with the engineers here, I said, look, there's no way the Fox shocks with 1.6 inches of added travel at the front and a bit more than 2 at the rear can make something feel so stable. A man much smarter than myself tried to explain to me how they've changed from the torsion trailing arm to the double A. And he explained that the centre of gravity and the rolling centre of gravity are now closer together because of the double A arm. And that means when you're going to a high-speed corner where you might feel some pitch and get that kind of, oh geez, moment, you're not getting that anymore because it's not pitching, it's not wallowing, and it's not getting nervous, making you nervous. Everything is that bit tighter. And some of the high-speed corners, honestly, it felt like a well-put-together car. I couldn't really believe it. It's not like any ATV I remember driving in the past. The end result of extra suspension travel, obviously the Fox shocks, and the new chassis especially, is that even for an amateur like myself, I'm feeling more confident drifting this thing. I'm feeling confident going through silly parts of the forest that I would never dream of going through. And just generally being a hoon on something that, you know, if you look at it, definitely intimidating. We've spoken about the shocks, but just even the fact that they're so handy to change on the fly. Compression and dampening, you have 3 settings and you can just get off. And I've done it here, you know, in sandy or silty parts of the track, get off and change it to be softer. When we're going a bit faster or more compact dirt, make it a bit stiffer. It's not like a completely different vehicle, but it really changes the handling. It's that on-the-fly changes that I've really come to appreciate about this over the last couple of days. You can change it from 2-wheel drive to 4-wheel drive, that's pretty normal, but then you've got power steering. So like, if you really want to feel what's happening underneath you and you really want to get involved, you can change the power steering and make it less intrusive. Or you can have a way more relaxing ride, enjoy the gel seat and put the power steering on max. Likewise, if you're going down a steep decline, you can set the engine braking from minimum, medium to maximum. They brought back the 4 discs for this year, and I can tell you, for something that weighs this much, there's a lot of stopping power. And you would always feel the weight of something that weighs over 1,000 pounds wet, but when you need to stop, it does it. At the end of the day, what I say with any new features that are added to any vehicle I ride, you know they're good when you instinctively start to use them. And that's what happened on my 2 days here in British Columbia. Day 2 here was dedicated to the 850, which in so many ways is the same as the 1000 you see here. But there are differences. It has less power, the suspension is a bit less capable, and in general I would say it's a bit more approachable. Right, the performance isn't as high, but it is a bit easier to just get on a very simple track. So for some people it's absolutely going to be the right option, and there's no point in spending thousands of dollars more when you don't need it. But there's a lot for me to take on board here after 2 whole days and countless miles on these machines. So I'll be spending the next few days decompressing and put pen to paper and writing a beautiful article for you folks, which is already probably in the description of this video. So until then, keep 2 or 4 wheels down, and yeah, I'll see you next time. Cheers folks.